All About You show with OMG and friends, where we talk about the things that you think about and some things you don't. I am your host, OMG, along with my co-host,
Daydream.
And as always, family, we'd like to thank you for joining us, and we ask that you please join in on the conversation, where your thoughts, your comments, and your opinions help drive the conversation. Today we will discuss Hump Day hot topics. Now, as you know, there's a lot going on in the country right now. Very little of it is good. But at any rate, America is now in pieces, not in peace. Our country is broken. This should be painfully obvious following the massacres that took place in Dayton, Ohio and El Paso, Texas over the weekend, leaving a combined total of 40 people dead and dozens more injured. Now, President Trump is a major part of the problem, and because of that, it is nearly impossible for him to have a role in fixing things. Trump's fear-stoking language has left him ill-equipped to provide the kind of unity and healing force that other presidents provided in times of national tragedy. Now, the problem is he has served as both enabler and beneficiary of the ideological resurgence which provoked the twin tragedies. His initial xenophobic rhetoric was kicked off in his political campaign by branding Mexican immigrants as rapists and drug dealers, and has on numerous occasions referred to migrants crossing the southern border as an invasion. The homegrown terrorist attack by white supremacists is now as big a threat as terrorism from abroad. The United States violence from abroad wanes in comparison to the rise of white supremacy, an increasingly internet-driven phenomenon of lone wolves or vigilante, not groups, that will prove immensely difficult to fight. The past weekend has been one of massive slaughtering carried out by young gunmen in El Paso and Dayton, Ohio. Sadly, the mass shooting in El Paso last weekend was the largest domestic terrorist attack against Hispanics in modern history. This has made it glaringly clear that the country is not prepared to deal with this growing threat and be able to fight it. The Dayton, Ohio killings were labeled as hate crime. Well, if I'm not mistaken, they're both hate crimes, are they not?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the twin tragedies and the hate that provoked these atrocities on our soil, and how to possibly get ahead of these domestic terrorism attacks and prevent them from occurring. You know, we're always right here. So I said America's in pieces. I know we're not in peace.
No.
We haven't had peace. How long has it been in office? 3 years?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, because he won't allow
3.5.
He won't allow any peace. You know, and he has played a big part in all of this.
Absolutely, and I know he's been getting called out. I know all day, well, since the incident happened, he's been getting called out. He actually visited El Paso today.
They did not want him there.
Not at all.
They did not want him.
Even the mayor of El Paso said, "Well, it's a formality. It's part of the profession." When they asked, how they felt about him going to visit and welcoming him, and that was the response. Well, basically it's a part of my job. I didn't have a choice. It's protocol.
But they didn't want to do it. They definitely wanted to.
No, absolutely not.
I didn't get a chance to see how he was received in any way.
I didn't either. I know that there was just a lot of encouragement from everyone to remember that, because they were, I want to say, meeting at the site of where it happened, and where there was like a makeshift memorial for the victims, that they asked people to just keep them in mind and to respect,
what they're going through.
Right, and to respect what they're going through, and for it to not be a clash or a feud that was going on, because it was, there was just a lot of protests about it, which, can you blame them? I mean, you sit there and you talk about us like we're animals, like we're less than,
and putting children in cages.
Absolutely, and then you go and say, how heartfelt sorry that you are, and that this is a travesty and everything else. It's, well, you caused this.
That's
you fueled this fire.
He has been an enabler. He has allowed this to take place, and he also has a fertile ground for this to thrive, which is why it is doing exactly what it's doing.
Right, and when there's one, it's a domino effect, because it was what happened in El Paso, and then I believe on Monday there was news reports that there was another would-be gunman that was stopped en route.
Oh, really?
Not too far from the Houston area. So, and if I remember correctly, that they also were coming from the Dallas area.
What's up with the Dallas? Well, see, again, people are being radicalized online.
Right.
Okay, just like they were with the Islamists and some of the others. They're being radicalized by someone, as it says here on the internet. But I think that basically social media, a lot of these people have put their intentions, their manifestos, all these things are right there for you to see.
They've put it all in a newsletter,
It's everywhere.
in a news
And nobody-
feed,
and
in a
nobody
news
gets
blast, and everyone just takes it with a grain of
Nobody
salt.
gets it. Yeah. So
You know,
we
they-
become so, accepting of
Right.
this vicious, vile, heinous act upon our own people.
Right. I was speaking with someone yesterday, and they said that one of their coworkers, who is white, made a comment, brought up the El Paso shooting, and was like, "Well, you realize that the shooter was a Democrat." And
What does
I
that-
forget something else that they said, and he stopped him and he said, "Hold on, wait a minute. What you forgot to do was lead in with the fact that he's white."
Okay?
Because had it been
White supremacy,
absolutely,
nationalists.
he's
yeah.
a white, he's Democrat, he's whatever else it was, I forget whatever else they said it was, but it's true. It's like absolutely, because if you talk about any other incident that happened, for example, with Malia Davis, her stepfather, the first thing that was said about him, her black stepfather.
Yeah.
Why was that even necessary?
Well, see, because they always have to delineate what, to profile us. It's always...
Absolutely. If there's a drive-by shooting, Hispanics, blacks.
Always.
That's the
Always
very first
brown.
thing out of their
Always
mouth.
brown.
Right. You don't talk about their political party.
You know it's not white people.
You don't
it's not politically based.
Absolutely. Right. So, and it's just... It's fueling racism, and it's also hurting the mentally ill. Because they're real quick to want to say, "Oh, well, they have a mental illness." Why are you real quick to throw that out?
Because that's a scapegoat.
Absolutely, but why are you real quick? Why are you real quick to throw that out? Because if that's the case, then you can say that anyone who commits any sort of heinous crime, regardless of their color, they obviously have a mental illness. Well, obviously they're sick in some way, morally.
Yeah.
But that it hurts the true mental health community. Because there's already low funding, there's already a stigma.
Yeah, you were out of the country at that time, but
right.
Dr. Ebony Butler and I talked about that.
Right, on last week's show.
A couple of weeks ago, yeah. So
right.
it's just not a good thing, and another thing I don't get is the fact that the Dayton, Ohio shooting. Now, this was a young guy, 19, maybe, I'm sorry, 21, and I think the shooter in El Paso was 24.
Okay.
Or vice versa. El Paso was 21, and this guy in Dayton, Ohio was 24. But he actually, not only did he commit this massacre, he actually committed what is called soricide. Soricide,
what is that?
The root word is soror. He killed his sister.
Oh, wow.
His sister was in the Walmart that he went and shot up. Or whatever it was he was shooting.
Right.
Wherever he was. I don't know if he was in Walmart or not, but I think it may have been Walmart.
You talking about in Dayton?
In Dayton. Yeah, so he shot his sister by mistake. How do you not see your sister in that rage? How do you not he killed 9 people. I think left 27 or 28 people injured. But how do you not, unless you're just so far gone,
right,
that you could not quickly, instantaneously recognize that's my sister?
Right. I mean, well, anyone, white supremacists to me are far gone.
So it has nothing to do with family. None of that means anything.
No,
so
absolutely not. They're far gone because they just feel that they're so superior, or that the rest of us are just that inferior,
and that you're taking up space that they would otherwise have. And
right.
I feel like Americans could be more sustained without all these other people. And so I don't know if the Dayton, Ohio thing was just somewhat of a copycat, because normally when you have these, there's always one somewhere close by the next one.
It definitely helped out, because you say, okay, well, somebody else, it's always, who's the first one to speak up? You're in a crowded room and something's, amiss, or something's just not right, and no one wants to say anything because they don't want to be that person. Well, I don't want to be the first one, because what if nobody else says anything with me? What if nobody else stands up with me?
That's the problem.
Absolutely. It's because we've been so scared or so
timid down. Okay, and
yes.
and also dumbed down. So we're just sheeple.
Absolutely, always. We've always been sheeple, and this is just going to continue to fuel that.
It is,
because of course it brings up again, gun rights. It brings up, mental health. It brings up well, it's the video games.
Yeah, well, you believe that?
Video games have definitely desensitized
Absolutely.
us, which
We've known
is
that
why
for
we don't
years.
say anything when we see someone's Facebook feed or their Twitter or their Instagram and it's off. We're just like, oh yeah, there's one of those crazy people again. Okay, no, that's a red flag right there. Like, pay attention to that.
Just accept.
Yeah, those are all, red flags. Those are all warning signs. At that point is when we need to speak up and say, hey, this isn't right.
Yeah.
Something needs to happen. We need to pay better attention to what's going on. Continue to follow this person in this crowd.
And just to sit, and talk to their friends and just see what you can come up with. There is a lawmaker in Ohio, and her name is, I think with that being said, I'm going to hold that right back.
We'll be right back after this short break.
You're listening to the Bridge of Black Radio Network, where conversations
He blames everything on
everything
everybody,
but what it is.
But what it is. And but himself. I just finished getting on my daughter the other day about them using my Netflix account. She's like, well, Mommy, all the kids use their parents. She said, we young people, we don't use that. So she sent me this just now that says Netflix is increasing to $59 after all this stuff. Damn. I hope whoever account I'm on can pay that shit.
Yeah.
Whoever that was.
That is too funny, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know when we were having issues with our Netflix account, I was just like, oh, it's okay. We're just going to use so-and-so. It sends a quick message, hey, I had to get on your Netflix. Okay.
Okay, right. So
it was like, hey,
kids have
ours is
mine.
jacking up until it gets fixed.
The kids have mine. She's like, well, Mommy, all kids have their parents pay. We don't subscribe to Netflix. We have TVs and Amazon. We don't do that.
Yeah.
But then give me back my account. I don't even on it,
Then let me change my password.
Okay. And then at one time, a couple times, I've not been able to get on because
Too many people. Too many devices have logged in.
This is mine. And I can't get on.
Right.
I
forget who it was that happened to.
15 seconds.
And they were just so irritated.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it was her son, and she couldn't get on the device. She had let me use it, but I was giving her half, for it. Like, hey, let me utilize it.
Because when I first got it, it was I was 16, and ready to go.
Right.
I don't know if it's worth all that, and you got like road to and all that other stuff, but.
Sure.
And we are back. You're listening to the All About You show with OMG and my co-host
Daydream.
We're talking about, and today, guys, is Hump Day Hot Topic. So we're talking about naturally the twin tragedies, one happening in El Paso and the other in Dayton, Ohio. Before we went to break, I was commenting on the fact that I think 45 had mentioned that video games had a lot to do with, some of the shooting incidences. And as you said, video games has desensitized most of these people, these young people, for a long time. So we've already known that, and
desensitized,
exactly
right?
So
and really
they
quickly,
don't have any feelings.
Absolutely not. Thank you, everyone who's already tuned in to our Facebook feed. Thank you again for all your support. We appreciate you. Give us a call here at the studio. Let us know your thoughts, your opinions, about this situation going on, because we're going to cover quite a few today. Give us a call here at the studio, 713-789-0096. And of course, you're more than welcome to comment on the feed. If you want to remain anonymous, let us know you want to remain anonymous. We don't need to put your name out there, but we do appreciate.
Opinion.
Yes, absolutely. We really do appreciate everyone's opinion.
Now, what I did say earlier is there's a Republican a candidate from Ohio, lawmaker from Ohio, and she's blaming the mass shootings on the breakdown of the traditional American family is part of the problem. Now that's
a part of a lot of problems.
Okay, so she went on to say, and I'll just give you the excerpts from it. She says the breakdown of the traditional American family, transgender, homosexual marriages, and drag queen advocates and all the others, fatherlessness, a subject that no one wants to believe or discuss as relevant, the ignoring of violent video games, also the relaxing of laws against criminals at the borders, the acceptance of recreational marijuana, failed school policies, parents who defend misbehaving children, disrespect to law enforcement, and it goes on and on about all the things that she thinks that comes together to kind of create this.
What created this bonfire?
Yeah, all of these different components. Yeah, right. all flammable.
Right. Okay. I don't agree with the recreational marijuana being legalized. I'm sorry, but what stoners do you know have gone on some drug-induced rampage?
I don't believe in recreational drugs as well.
That keeps everyone calm. You know, it gets everyone to chill out. It takes away the crazy. I mean, if you talk to most people, you know, it's their anxiety. You know, CBD, you know, medical marijuana. You look at the diagnoses of what they're treating: anxiety, depression.
Well, that's because the world has put us in all these anxiety-laden situations.
Absolutely.
Like now, this here, like I said, America's in pieces. You know, by no means are we in peace, and we will not have it. So the country is actually broken. And I have some information here that also says that that was a hell of a weekend. That same weekend,
I'm so glad I didn't pay attention to the news.
I know it's good.
I did not. Luckily, my signal, I had cell service down there, but I didn't pay too much attention to it because it was taking forever to load. You know, I'm very impatient. You know, so I'm so glad I was able to just detach, unwind, disengage, completely disengage.
Absolutely.
You know, it was a huge difference
really
because just on the way to the airport, listening to the radio to come back, I was like, what all of this stuff that was going on, and you know, it filled my head. I was like, I don't want to. I'm still on the other side of the board. I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, it's real, and it awaits you wherever you are. You know, so. They had, like I said, that weekend of August 4th, they had quite a few shootings. No one has mentioned the 40 shootings that was in Chicago.
Because it's quote unquote normal.
Okay, that's exactly what I was going to say. Because it's black on black crime, they just assume that, and that's when we have mass shootings amongst ourselves in our own neighborhoods.
Right.
But I don't think there's ever really been a black mass shooter.
I cannot recall there being
anyone.
Now there will be, you know, an enraged, you know, former coworker.
Yeah, you'll get that. That's your postal thing.
Yeah.
And we did have the sniper thing for a minute, a couple years back. And I think that was in D.C. I think he had shot a couple people, some ex-military guy. But
okay. But even that in itself,
but it wasn't.
If you speak to a lot of military people, active or you know non-active,
they're a little out there. That PTSD,
they get done and come out of the military with
craziness
issues, you know, and needing to be medicated or receive some sort of therapy.
And they just
not at all. You know, they sit there
and,
they sit there and boast about, oh, you know, your VA benefits this and VA benefits that, but when you actually talk to military, active and non-active military, you know, about what services they can and can't receive, you have a waiting list. It's a bunch of runaround. It's a bunch of red tape. It's, well, you have to do this first. You have to go there first, and then you have to wait for this. Absolutely not. It's not worth it.
And a lot of your homeless people are military people.
Yes, they are.
And we're supposed to thank you for your service. Is that how you thank them?
By throwing them away.
You know, so again, Chicago had 40 deaths there, and then we had, 40 combined with Dayton as well as El Paso. And in the El Paso's writings, he had put together a manifesto that was online. This is where we really don't have we don't have anything in place to handle domestic terrorism like we do international terrorism.
Right.
We should have something in place that some avenue, some way to find out. Have people are trolling the damn internet anyway, so have people get paid to find out or send information like manifestos, because oftentimes they're online.
Well, I mean,
and you already have radicalized, and so they're just
absolutely. You already have agents that are online looking for predators, for anything else. You keep talking about Trump, so now we need to censor your program, and we're going to limit how many invites you have, or we're going to flag this, we're going to flag that. If you can sit there and do that for that, if you can sit there and hone in and give permission so that way you can sell your ads and all your other product and everything else. So if I'm speaking about Australia, all of a sudden I have videos about koalas and traveling to Australia and everything else, then how is it that you miss this each and every single time?
It's no different. You know what I've jokingly said to you guys in the past when we've done a show, when I have gone through a red light, they will have my sunglasses, my red lipstick, clears the picture.
Absolutely.
Let somebody go and rob an ATM machine where the camera's like right here. It's blurred. They have no recognition.
Is it just me, or is it poor footage when they're Caucasian?
Oh, it is. They can't
Because
figure out. It's
every time I
unclear.
see the news,
It's
it's
unclear.
clear footage when it's
Everybody
Hispanic,
else.
when it's black,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
any
definitely.
minority. You
Yeah.
know, but then all of a sudden, oh well, they weren't
It's-
able to get a clear
We
picture.
couldn't
How
get
not?
it. Gosh, we just missed it. Yeah, you know. we
How
couldn't
not?
get it.
Even the cheapest security system that you buy
Well,
still
to
has
be
a
able
better
to-
camera. Even your little Boost Cricket phone that you buy, your little prepaid phone, has a better camera image
You know
than
that.
anything else that they're showing. But you know, but it's just Adrian being crazy
But
again.
they
You know,
have
wanting
clear
it
pictures if you go through the red light. That camera's perfect.
right.
You know.
I want to comment on the so-called breakdown of the traditional American family, and I kind of get a feeling that she's talking about the white traditional family that they created when they came over and took over the United States. They still feel like that's the ideal way.
So that was when
And I
America
agree
was
with
great
Daydream
again.
on recreational marijuana use. Again, since when has someone smoked weed and went out and blew up a building,
Right.
gunned people down? It was never the case
No.
when that happened. And again, these shooters typically are white. So
And
what do you
yeah.
mean that questioning, single parent homes and, other kinds of
Other-
homes,
other
other kinds of
issues.
families that you don't agree with? Again, these folks are not the ones blowing everybody up. If those families are so bad, well then why don't you see any of them going and gunning people down? There are always these middle class white folks, people
Right.
with so-called
And
privilege
nobody's paying
and
attention.
opportunity, and they still feel the need to go and gun everyone down.
Right. Well, there's always an excuse. It's not even so much that they're not paying attention, is that they excuse it to
They
death.
excuse it, yeah.
Literally to death, because that's the
Yeah,
outcome, and
the
that
outcome
ends up
of-
being
yeah,
the result.
That's the end game. There was another shooting that was thwarted by, I think, here we go again, the little guy worked at Walmart.
Mhm.
He was 19. His grandmother turned him in.
Oh yeah, they talked
Rightfully
about that
so.
today. And what was the
That's
idea of
old school
Trump's
parenting.
apologizer saying there's no such thing as white supremacy? People are just making that up. I just said, you know what?
This man, you know what?
Well, I know when they were talking about it, like I said, it's been all over the news. That's all anyone's talking about, news shows and everything else. But they were saying that a lot of politicians were asking, or even his own team, part of his own team was saying that he needs to tone it down.
Well, he's overspoken now. Like I said, he has this,
I mean,
the
they know
language
they're
that
white
he's put out
nationalists.
there. He can't retract all that. It's
No.
out there now. And so, like I said, this guy's manifesto.
No, his way to retract things is say, "Oh, that's all fake news.
Oh,
That's all
you're
fake."
right.
I say, "Well, here's the
Right.
video." But,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
no,
fake.
that was
I don't
created.
care if it's in your face. He will deny it implicitly that it's real. I just don't
Right.
get this guy. But again, in this 2,300 word creed on Saturday, this guy kind of wrote verbatim
Mhm.
exactly what Trump felt. But this was a personal attack. Usually it's us. Now it's your people, which is still us.
Still us.
We're
Yeah,
still brown.
us,
Yeah,
still
still
us.
us.
Still
We're
us.
still non-Caucasian.
It's still us.
Right.
You know, and it's not.
I don't feel any type of non-connection or difference.
Absolutely not. I mean, and it's been going on, and it continues to be swept under the rug. When you had all those women and children that were coming up missing, crossing the border back and forth, in Juarez, it was just, oh well, that's just part of the game. No one really wanted to say anything, but it's their family members who kept trying to bring to light, these
What
people
was
are
going on,
missing.
what was happening.
Only
They
pieces
don't even care about.
of their clothing or pieces of their bodies were being found, but they left it as, oh well, that's that issue down there at the
Same
border.
thing with all these black women that were missing. a while
All the
back
sex
in
trafficking
DC.
and everything else.
They don't know where these people
We
are.
were constantly swept under the rug.
No,
That's
that's what I
constantly,
say.
yeah,
We
that's
all
looked
are.
at as a minority issue. No, it's a human issue.
Well, again, speaking of human, there's an author by the name of David Livingstone Smith, and he's a professor at the University of New England, and he's the author of a book called Dehumanization of Whole Categories of People. And he said that Trump has emboldened Americans whose views were seen as unacceptable in everyday society not long ago. So he has given validation to those.
Mhm.
People are becoming a lot more vociferous, if you will. This has also been part of the American life. He said, but Trump has given people permission to say what they think, and that's crack cocaine. That's powerful. When someone allows you to be authentic, that's a very, very potent thing. People have come out of the shadows. So he has emboldened people to the tune of doing what you want to do, saying what you want to say,
Right.
and just putting people in the position that he has, and just he spews hate himself.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So how can you not feel
That was his whole campaign.
That was his whole right. That's why I said
Right.
this whole manifesto came from his political information when he was running for office. You know, and just as recent as today, and I was going back to, I gave a total of 40 people from Dayton and El Paso as far as the death. I was just trying to stay up on that, but it's just so depressing. And why does Walmart play such a big part of this? I'm just amazed. There's always something happening.
kind of
Because
there.
think about it, Walmart
I
lower
don't
prices.
like
The
Walmart,
majority of
never
people
liked Walmart.
that shop at Walmart are lower class, minority. Walmart is irritating. You know, you see those memes.
I've
the people
seen
of Walmart,
I've seen some
you know, they're
videos.
ratchet. They're white trash. Okay, there's no other word for it. They're white trash. They're ghetto trash. They're trailer trash. It's just low class, less educated people. Because you let your child run around in their diaper barefoot.
Or
You're
you
running
come
around
barely dressed
barefoot, not even
bedroom
dressed in
shoes.
your you know, it's just. I would much rather pay extra.
I do. I don't
Shop
like-
at Target. It's
Yeah.
nice and quiet. Even when it's so crowded, full of people on a busy, you know, back to school shopping weekend, it's still quiet. You can still talk like this, and there's no problem. And you know, you used to be able to walk around with your popcorn. Now they took it away. So
Yeah, okay.
now
Yeah,
you just
no
walk around
fights.
like this with your
Like
Starbucks.
Walmart fights in the parking lot.
It's ridiculous.
People solicit you in the store.
Yeah, want to work on your car? Do you need your headlights? Leave me alone.
Or they solicit you for
Let me
sex.
get in my car.
Yeah,
Really?
it's the
Yeah.
Walmart over on Dunville's.
Oh, is that the one that had
yeah,
the-
at a
Oh
certain
well, that's the
hour.
area for it.
I
Yeah,
never
that's
hung
look
out
at
with
the area.
there were girls looking, the lesbians looking.
Well, it's
Well, that
you're
was
looking-
me.
Oh, that was you.
I was attacked.
I
I was visually attacked at a Walmart, and I haven't
thought
been
I
back to
heard
that
that
Walmart
somewhere, yeah.
since. And it's supposed to be in a better class neighborhood, you know, here in
Yeah,
North
whatever.
Houston. Like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You have
I
trash
never liked-
everywhere.
I've never liked Walmart.
No,
I don't-
and speaking
I-
of Walmart, what
I-
else happens at Walmart? Bluebell ice cream
Oh yes, now that's another
with
thing.
all those other videos. That's
Yeah,
you know it.
we're going to get into that. And I guess we can pretty much now because we're going to talk about a few other things. But you know, again, America needs to be healed and pulled back together. I just don't think Donald Trump has it in him.
No, not
He's
at all.
ill prepared
He's
to
not
be able to bring the
concerned,
country
yeah.
back together. He didn't even know
Because
whether- he
his
didn't
point
even
was
know where
never
they
to
were
bring
going.
us together.
His whole thing was he was going to Toledo. He wasn't going to Dayton.
Oh,
The shooting
no.
happens in Dayton. He's such a dummy. I mean, he couldn't even.
Well, come on, he didn't even realize
He
that
didn't
Puerto
read.
Rico was a part of the U.S. and that he was
right,
the
but he was
president.
a president, big dummy. I mean, I
Right.
can't even.
They're-
You know, and then but his staff also, his administration, they know
They
what
allow
Puerto
ignorance
Ricans or
that he
somebody
is.
else. Those are our people. I get so
He doesn't
frustrated
know
when people
that.
try to treat them like there's something else. I'm like, those aren't
There's no
ours.
different than when he went there. He was
There
throwing
are
paper
people.
They're
towels,
U.S. citizens.
throwing paper towels at them when during
Right.
the hurricane, throwing paper towels.
Right. And you know, and in regards to, thank you, Annabelle, for chiming in. This is in regards to them just allowing us basically to kill ourselves off. You know,
Chicago.
she says in Pasadena, here in the Houston area, in Pasadena, a Hispanic guy that was in jail for domestic violence got out on a PR bond, then went back home and killed his pregnant girlfriend. You already committed a crime.
No.
Then they let you out on your own recognizance.
recognizance.
Okay.
Right.
And then you go right back. Okay, well, where was the protection for her?
There was no.
You know, if
None.
if
If
he
they're
had
not-
committed domestic violence against a white woman, against a white man,
Oh, he would never have seen.
He
the
would have
same
never
day
gotten
out
out
of
on a
jail.
PR
He'd have
bond.
never gotten out.
you know, not at all.
None of this is new, guys. You know, so we all kind of. It's sad, but none of it is new. You know, and I don't know. I guess we just have to continue to deal with it. So now we're going to move on to a few other things that's happening in today's world, and the Boy Scouts.
Uh-oh.
You know, I was a Girl Scout, so I thought very highly of
Right.
those organizations. But you know, they're coming out with all of these sexual abuse, which we know. It's like the
Right.
priests, you know,
Not the
they
boys.
See, and when we were growing up in elementary school, they would always come to the schools and encourage everyone to be a part of the Girl Scouts and
Yeah,
be
I
a
was a Girl
brownie.
Scout.
Girl Scout.
I was
Okay.
always like, well, I want to do that, but it was just so expensive. And then my parents were always working, so it wasn't even just the financial issue. Then it became, okay, well, we don't have time in our schedule to go do this, to go do that.
Yeah.
And now I'm glad.
Okay.
You know, that was God's way of saving us.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't need this type of crisis, this type of, you know.
But they have so many boys over a 20-year span.
that are coming out and saying that they were. I did.
Just like the Catholic Church.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like just like these priests. You know, I don't know why they have these
I guess we have
these
good
separate
church. I don't know.
situations where all men, all girls. What do you expect?
I don't know. I was a Girl Scout, and man, I was the
I mean,
first
I've
one
never-
in my
I've
troop
never-
to earn a badge, and man, my camera badge. I was taking pictures, and it was just never anything like that. We went on our camping trips. We had the best time. We learned so many things.
I've never had. I'm hoping
I
that
just-
the girls didn't go through that, but they probably did. as well.
Maybe
They
some
probably
people did, but I
I
didn't.
doubt that they are.
And we would connect with other troops, like in the neighboring town, and we would go. Oh man, it was just a wonderful experience. I'm glad I didn't.
enjoyed the Girl
I'm
Scouts.
glad I didn't have any of that type of negativity.
I know part of
Going to Girl Scouts. Lisa, I see you watching. Lisa Gioni, thank you very much.
On my own, I would try to do my
Watching.
duty to God in my country. I was trying to remember the little players that we used to have to say.
Yeah,
got
that's
me.
right. You had wrote you right. I was trying to remember.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But these kids, you know, again, these boys are now teenagers. So you probably ruined these kids for life, you know, or have them going down a path that probably wasn't originally their desire to go.
They're
Right.
the next shooters.
They're the next
set of
shooters.
shooters.
Right.
No,
They're-
seriously, because
I'm
think about it.
serious,
Again,
because they
and
are-
Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, who is it? You have to have the money for it, and who typically has the money for it? White people.
people.
I'm not saying it is.
They do. They always have the gun collections and things like that. I'm like, your parents have that in their house? I mean, collections of
Well, you know, they said a lot of this has gone unreported for
Of
years.
weaponry.
Yeah, and now it's coming out. And imagine all of these boys probably be afraid to go home and tell their dads and stuff like this. You know, and they were saying that every time when they had meetings, and a lot of parents would trust the
troop leader.
the troop leader with
Yeah.
their boys.
Yeah,
You know,
right, because you didn't have any reason not to trust them. They,
you know, their kids
they
were
there.
part of it. You know, they were part of the troop also, and then you know you're
Right.
going into people's homes to have meetings and things like that.
Yeah, ours was always at school, and I went to Catholic school, so the nun, Sister Joanne Marie, she was the troop leader. So
Oh, we had it at
yeah, so
church.
we had it
I
at
was at
right, and then they have troops at my church, also Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. So right, you would go to the church,
You go to
for the-
church.
yeah, for the
But
meetings. But we were at
Still,
school.
everybody's got a hidden agenda.
Always.
Just do your thing. Teach the kids how to
We-
get badges, how to make fires.
We
out of
don't know how
twigs,
to
you
be.
know, how to
We don't know
How
how
to
to be
vote.
humane.
I
live with
learned
each
how to
other.
war. all
We
kinds
have
of-
no idea how to be humane towards each
We
other.
really don't.
We have no idea how to be just people and look at each other as people. You know, if we pay more attention to children, you know, they don't know race, they don't know color, they don't know
They're
prejudice.
taught that.
They're taught all
They're
that.
taught that.
Yeah.
You know, because when you're in school, and I told this story before. I was in elementary school, and it was about somebody who had picked on me about something. And when I was trying to relay the story to my mom, the very last thing that I could explain to her was that it was a little black boy. But that wasn't the first thing that I said, how I described him. You know, I described everything else about him, and she still was just like, well, I don't get it. And when I said, well, Mom, he was black. You know, and I said it just like that because it was just so uncomfortable because you know, to me, it's like, why should I have to describe someone that way? And I was in
Right.
elementary school. I was
That happens now.
And
First,
I
second
refuse
grade?
to describe people that way unless there's just
It
some
happens
reason why
on the
that
regular.
information is
Is important
significant.
and pertinent to what
If
you're
it's
saying.
pertinent, if it's pertinent to the situation, then maybe. But other than that, that's not how I would describe people.
Well, you know, it happens a lot down here, but I think Texas gets away with a lot. Do we have that video? The front of it, anyway. I'm not going to go into the whole story.
It's just a picture.
I'm sorry, just a picture.
Yeah, let's
of something
show that.
I saw today, or heard about. I guess it happened maybe a day or so ago, but it falls in line with
Oh yeah.
Trump and all of this.
Yeah, and they came back with the apology.
It
And,
doesn't matter. You've got a black man walking in between two white officers on a horse,
yeah.
and you have him with a rope around his neck like a donkey,
now, mind you, he's already handcuffed.
Right.
walking down the
Okay.
street.
In
This
front
is-
of everyone. It's
The minute I
fun.
saw this, it just brings back the history. You know, the Willie
Yeah.
Lynch thing, the humiliation.
They were taking him to the lynching. or
Yes,
something,
and
yeah,
dra-
and marching him
and
off.
parading him through the street.
Parading him so everybody could see
Right.
his humiliation
I don't
in the
get.
hot sun.
What are we gonna do? I mean, we're talking about it.
And,
yeah.
and
I get
before,
tired of
yeah, and
talking
before
because-
anyone could say anything, oh well, you know, it was the mounted patrol. How else were they supposed to? How
The man
about
was
get your
not a
fat
threat.
self off
the horse,
the horse
right.
and walk him? You know, what was the point of needing to put a rope around him for what?
Yeah,
Again,
what
he
was
was
that?
already handcuffed. He was already apprehended.
Because white
He
people
wasn't
have become
resisting.
more emboldened with what they
Right.
want to do.
And then they come back with the apologize after.
After the fact.
I'm going to do something
That's
to
like
you
I
now.
do on my job sometimes. You know, I don't ask for permission.
Just do it.
I just do it and ask for forgiveness later.
Right.
Yeah, because you never get permission. But bottom line is the fact that there was another way to handle this. This was done intentionally.
Absolutely.
And this was done to further support the white supremacy, the
Of
white
which
nationalism,
those cops
of
could have
which
been,
those cops
could be sympathizers,
very simple. I mean, it's
easily
just,
members. They could have meetings at their home. You don't know.
and they claim that this guy here never, he was never aggressive, never assertive in any way, not a threat, but that he was mentally ill.
Mentally ill, and they put a rope on his neck.
Yeah.
So you just further traumatize the mentally ill person.
And there you are. And that's how they do it here, you know. But they were also saying, this is something, I don't know how we can do anything about this. I mean, they have statistics here on, you know, the information with the Boy Scouts and how bisexualism affects it, and white men reported less sexual assault than any other race. Hispanics and blacks had more. You know, just
From the Boy Scouts.
just Boy Scouts, just this, everything of color.
Right.
Everything of color.
Always is the worst.
Right.
Yeah.
So on with that, but I don't know. We've got so much going on, and that I don't know if it's being used as propaganda for something bigger.
Of course it is.
I
There's
know-
always a bigger
I know
picture.
there's always but I just want to know. I don't know. I just don't like not being able to do anything.
Right.
I'm
Right. You want to do something.
yeah. I'm kind of an assertive person. Some kind of you gotta do
Right.
something, you know. You know.
Well,
but
I mean, we're getting back into election season, so that's where we can start doing something. You know,
Right,
we make the
exactly.
biggest impact in our local elections.
Right.
You know, not necessarily in the national.
Yeah,
No,
it's
national.
not
You know,
National.
that national, we're just a flea.
Those representatives.
We're
Yeah.
a flea.
those
We're a flea on a
people-
big
And
Saint
we're
Bernard. You know.
Right.
we're gonna be in a bad situation when the time comes for the president election.
Yeah, it's
It's
not.
gonna be drama whether he wins or
Well,
loses.
either way,
or
it's gonna
loses.
be-
It's
it's
gonna
gonna
be fake and bad, you know. And see, he brings all of this, but yet he brings no remedies for anything. Like I said, he can't even get together.
I don't
to
think he's done anything
apologize.
but
He has
positive.
never done anything really positive, because even now he went to El Paso. I'm not sure exactly how they dealt with him, but Beto was like all over it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, no, he's a
Right.
racist. He's come, you know, we don't want him here.
Right.
You know, and so that's a plug to help Betos. But the only one time I've been to El Paso, I don't remember seeing anybody other than Hispanics.
It's
No
80%.
black. Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say, I remember going across to Juarez
Mhm.
and shopping and doing all
Yeah.
that, but I was like, wow. And that's when I first got exposed
Right.
to dog racing, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in El Paso. But I like El Paso.
You know.
Right.
But I
And
just-
it's funny because that when I was out, okay, I went out I was in Mexico over the weekend, out in closer to Cozumel and to Cancun. I was at my cousin's wedding, and first of all, for Trump to sit there and talk about how Hispanics, immigrants were invading this
He said it's
country.
an invasion. That's what he said.
You want to talk about an invasion? You get off that plane, first of all, on the plane itself, okay, and it's a jam-packed plane. No matter what flight you get, what time of the day, which day of the week it is, it's jam-packed. There's always a full flight, okay? The majority of the people were white.
Always.
You get off at the airport, it's just a sea of white people. There's a few of us brown people mixed in, even fewer blacks mixed in,
Mhm.
okay? A lot of the advertisement and everything, and then I get it. It's a tourist area,
Mhm.
but still, this is also land where the Mayans ruled, okay, and everything else is in the Mayan language. Akumal, Chichen Itza, Tulum, those are all part of the Mayan language. And you go see the pyramids, what the Mayan pyramids that are there. You have things that are in English, advertising to buy property, real estate. The area that we were in, it's a private community, and I asked the driver, I said, I know there's a lot of people here, and I said, I noticed there's also a lot of property for sale, a lot of condos and everything. And he goes, yeah, we do have a lot of people that come visit. And I said, I said, there's a lot of Americans, a lot of white people who come to visit and part of the tourists. I said, but be honest. I said, who owns the majority of this property?
And you know.
White.
You already know.
And that's not the original invasion, is it? Who invaded this country?
white people.
Europeans.
Mhm.
So he's got that confused. I would say, which invasion do you mean, sir?
I mean, he's
The ones that invaded and annihilated the native people, the indigenous people? That is an invasion. That was an invasion. That is the invasion. If he wants to talk about invasion.
he has this thing with immigrants. I mean,
But
yeah.
his wife is an immigrant.
That's
I mean,
the-
come
that's what-
on.
That's why I can't.
They're
right, that's the hard
immigrants.
part. Yeah,
They
right, 'cause he's
immigrated
not from
here
this country.
and
Right.
Because
annihilated the indigenous people.
Again, his name was not Donald Trump. You know, we've done a show on that. His name is actually Drumpf. D-R-U-M-P-F.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's his name.
Yeah.
And so, you know, his people, and he's more, and we did a comparison, I think, when he got into office with him and Hitler.
Right.
So I think they're kind of connected. But on that note, I think I need to go to break, and we'll be right back.
The Bridge of Light Radio Network, where conversations lead to
That little picture just hurts my heart. It's
It's
just
disgusting.
to me. Yeah. You know, it just reminds me that we haven't moved forward.
He didn't know what. That guy didn't know what to say. He probably didn't know what was going on.
We're just hamsters on a wheel. That's all that's been going on.
Going fast, going nowhere. We're going fast.
You threw a lot of shots at people who shop at Walmart. I was like, dang.
Huh?
I said you threw a lot of shots at people who shop at
Well,
Walmart.
I hate that. I only
like
go.
it.
Yeah, I never
I
said people
I
didn't
hate
like what I
that
have to
store.
say,
I
but
don't like
I'm
Walmart
gonna
either.
tell you the truth.
I was like, dang.
I only go in a pinch, and I don't feel like their prices are that low. Their prices are high. The fruit and vegetables are not good for food.
Low quality.
It's low quality.
Oh,
I
okay.
only go in a absolute pinch.
I'm gonna get you to say something about Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison passing.
Oh my God! Did she pass away?
Well, you don't know.
I don't even know. That's how bad I am.
I don't even probably put a couple days.
It was on Saturday or Sunday.
I don't know. I didn't pull it up.
I want to say Saturday. I think I saw something.
That's all. Just Google it.
You ready to come back?
David, bring us back here, please.
And we are back. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Today is Hump Day Hot Topics.
Takes a minute.
Yeah, it's just
But I like it.
it's we have been talking, of course, about the tragedy in El Paso, and we've of course touched on racism and Trump and immigrants, and also what happened here in Texas with the police officers that were parading a black man tied with a rope as they walked him down the street because they were supposedly going around the corner to where the patrol station was at. But why they felt the need to parade him in that way when he was already handcuffed and not resisting and not acting aggressively towards them, I don't know. Thank you everyone who has tuned in. Give us a call here at the studio, 713-789-0096. And also, again, thank you to Annabelle. Before we went to break, we were talking about Trump and how his parents are immigrants and how his real name is not Trump.
It's Drumpf.
It's Drumpf. And how we had, how he's been compared previously to Hitler. Annabelle states his father was an immigrant. You're absolutely correct. She says he has some internal issues going on. That's very obvious. You know, he's got little man syndrome going. He's got, you know, it's.
But he is who he's always been. If you've ever watched, I watched something on Netflix with him. I think it was 3-part series, basically from his younger years, starting in New York and just being the bully that he's always been. So basically, who he
The
is,
narcissist
the
he's always
entitlement,
been.
the
That's never
narcissistic,
changed.
the egomaniacal personality, the whole thing is no different than the way he was earlier.
No,
in
now
New
he,
York.
except now he's on the big screen.
And now he's on the big screen, and yeah,
With
and,
the megaphone.
and nobody will touch him. Nobody will touch him.
He really has
Nobody
everybody
will
scared.
touch him.
They are one person. I'm like, you know, you guys really could gang up on him, and you're scared to do it.
Yeah, but he's not that little. I think Trump is like 6'2", maybe.
He's like what, like 300 pounds?
But still,
He's a very
he's
portly
got
man.
Oh, I
He's a
don't
very
know.
portly
Is he?
man.
I
You
think
can
he was
tell
that
just
big.
from his
Well,
pictures.
I don't even watch him because just looking at him
It just
annoys
sickens,
me.
it sickens
The
me.
hair, the way he,
Not even that, just his
the
his
intonations
spirit.
of his voice, how he moves his mouth, it just spits pure evil.
Right, and Annabelle agrees. She says that was a great documentary. Annabelle, if you could if you remember the name of that documentary,
It was
so that
yeah.
we
If
can
you
post
remember
it.
Annabelle, thank you.
We'd
yeah,
appreciate
but
it.
You need to watch it just to see who he is. But nothing has changed. He has not grown. He's not done anything. He is just, overpowered, bullied.
When,
Well,
he
and
talked,
then-
when he talked about Baltimore, was really a way to let you know how
how he feels.
how he really feels.
Well, he kind of let us know that.
Right,
Biden
and
still won the office.
Yeah, previous
Yes,
staff
there
members have spoken about him, and people who are very close to him who said that he's always been this person.
Mhm.
Except it's gotten. They said, has it gotten
Progressively
worse? Yeah,
worse.
it's gotten worse because now he has a
Absolutely.
bigger audience, and so that's what
more
fuels
money.
him.
Yes, that's exactly right. See, the negativity and with his white supremacy, he embodies that. So again, like I said, he's the beneficiary of all of this xenophobic stuff that we're dealing with now that he has put in place, and now he can't even retract it. He can't even, like I said, he is not capable of pulling the country together, healing us, pulling
And
us
it was
together,
really, it was never
giving
his
giving
intent.
us that
He's not
talk.
a healer. He has
He's not
horns
that
and
talk.
a tail. I kept
Obama would
saying
have
that.
went straight into protocol.
Right into the right, exactly. He
as
was-
with
he-
Clinton or even Bush.
But
Would have done it.
Obama had tried to heal throughout his administration both times.
Well, again, this
And
guy was
was
a clown.
continuously
still-
criticized, no matter which
and
way he did
criticized
it.
for no matter what, and they're still complaining about him. I'm
Well,
like,
I
oh,
read
he didn't make an
somewhere-
impact on you,
I
did
read
he?
somewhere that he was. They did some poll of about 50,000 people, and he was pretty much selected as being one of the most admired presidents. I mean, you couldn't catch homeboy off point at no time.
And you
Oh, you're talking about
Obama.
Oh, okay.
They
I
want-
was
they
like,
want it.
what?
They
I'm
want it.
sorry. That's what my face was for. I was like,
Boy,
wait a minute.
smooth.
Who
He
were
could
you?
never, yeah.
Absolutely not. But again, everything that
Never
he did, it was
rude.
never good enough.
Yes.
No matter how well educated the
Oh,
man is, how articulate. It was always something. Oh, and the name of that documentary, thank you, Annabelle, is called Trump: An American Dream.
Yeah, y'all need to watch that.
So that has been
Annabelle
posted.
just.
Thank
confirmed
you,
it.
Annabelle.
Yeah.
I
It's
will
interesting
look
to
at that.
watch because, and I don't even like the guy, but I need to make sure why I didn't like him. So I had to find.
Yeah,
just
to
real-
read-
yeah,
Right,
let
it's
me-
not
let
going to
me
be just for no reason,
Yes,
just
no,
because.
yeah, he's just.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't see it on air because we are on Christian station.
Okay, well, we got some, I guess,
What?
sad news.
Yeah, we do.
The first African American woman to win the Peace Prize, to win the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1993, Toni Morrison died in the Bronx, New York, at age 88.
Yeah, she was an excellent writer. The
Oh
was one
my
of her
God.
favorite.
Oh my God, yeah, that
Excellent.
and they
Excellent.
use a lot of her works in universities. They discuss many of
I
her,
think she
her
taught
books.
school, didn't she? Not? She taught at Princeton at
Yeah.
some point in
Just-
her career.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm like, what a loss.
Yeah. So
What a loss. But she lived a long life, 88.
that
I
is.
mean,
that is
was
pretty lucky.
that was.
So now we have also, guys, another situation.
Oh yeah, it was pneumonia complications
Pneumonia?
associated with pneumonia. That
Because 88's not old.
no, not anymore.
No.
Definitely, it's not. So, but anyway, she succumbed to complications associated with 88 pneumonia in Hudson, New York.
And a lot of people are already aware of the situation with the cheating and the admissions into school in California with the celebrities and the stars and all of that.
Yeah.
Well, now there's another, there's an
Another-
extension of that.
Another school scandal.
Yes, another school scandal. You now have wealthy families that are giving up custody of their children in order to receive financial aid.
Like they need
That's
it.
pitiful.
The
Again,
way-
the rich taking from the poor.
Can you get?
You don't
I-
need it. You're just being greedy.
I can't.
Because if minority families,
If we do anything, they're so busy on
the
us
child
with-
welfare system is already just inundated with people that they cannot help. Okay,
Mhm.
it's already flooded and overworked, underfunded, understaffed, and when you have minority families who are unable to care for their minority children, we're called all kinds of names: deadbeats, lowlifes. Well, you shouldn't have had them. You
got
should
too
be
many of 'em. You
sterilized.
got-
All
Yeah.
all you people do is lay up and have babies.
Right, and
That you can't
we
take
we
care of.
get that thrown at us, but when you have rich white people, okay, because it's not just wealthy. No, it's rich white people that are doing this. They are purposely, quote unquote, giving up custody of their children just so that way they don't have to pay in order for them to get into college. You already provided them with the best, supposedly the best education.
And the best life, everything.
So what is it that you need to then get them into school for free for?
And the thing is that
Because they can.
my frustration with this is that I'm in graduate school. I took a vow of poverty, and for this degree. So I'm struggling through this. I mean, it is not easy. This is why a lot of people don't want to go to graduate school, because it's so consuming. And then they just want to, I'll just do this to get in. Yeah, I mean, and it's a struggle but it's a real struggle. And you're lying and pretending that you're something that you're not to get something you don't deserve.
Right.
And when I try to get financial aid, they're coming up with all reasons to tell me no.
Part-time work, you can't
you're working part-time, but
They
you gotta do
yes, they
something.
dock you for so many
Yes,
things, and then all the
absolutely.
paperwork.
I
They
know.
run around with the paperwork. Show
God.
this, show that. We already get. Well, we need another copy of this,
Well,
and
we-
we
I
need
remember
a
that.
notarized letter and a notarized statement that this money is coming. That it was a gift, or this is a loan,
yeah.
and this is.
I remember. all
You didn't
of
put
that.
your car on there. That's an
And
asset.
you're standing
I
in-
can't live. I
Oh,
can't eat
yeah.
my car. I can't. Yeah.
And this is mainly happening in Chicago. They said that they reported over a dozen cases of parents giving up custody of their children due to financial reasons. I wonder if this has anything to do with HBCUs, because if that's the case,
Mhm.
these kids can very easily get into some of these black colleges
Right.
and really have no fee at all
But even at that,
as a minority.
why would you want to go to a quote unquote minority
Oh,
school,
that's-
an inferior school, and receive an inferior education?
According to you,
Okay,
yeah.
well, exactly.
But I'm just saying, but
You know?
you go to TSU.
The
now.
hypocrisy, I tell you.
TSU.
The
Yeah.
contradictions.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly. A minute ago
well,
it
it,
was.
it fits whomever's giving the narrative. White people
Exactly.
always make it associate and fit what they have to say, because this requires,
Right.
this is stupid. You have doctors and lawyers actually giving up
Yeah, you're absolutely correct
the kids.
on that. And thank you, Quinnen, for tuning in. He says it's a dirty game that they play. Absolutely.
Oh, they play
It's
hard.
the games
They
of
go
the game,
hard.
and I mean
said we
it.
don't even know half of them. And the minute we learn them, we try to execute them and implement them on ourselves. See, they go to the market to do this. They go out into the game, into the game of life.
Right.
We will hurt each other first.
Right.
And just try to figure out how to not encourage going to school. It's important, but not at this cost. And in order for us not to, and for this not to reoccur, they said there's a loophole. In order for this not to occur, the Department of Education wants to add that even though legally independent, students are considered dependent if they continue to receive financial and medical support from their parents. So hopefully this will allow low-income students who are actually in need to go to college. Now they think that's really going to be.
No, that's not, because
What is this?
my brother at the time when he graduated from high school, his girlfriend, Asian, her family basically disowned her and up and moved to California, out of state. So she was supporting herself, and all the paperwork and the runaround that they gave her, because she needed to prove that was true. And she's not rich, she was from a lower middle class family of immigrants.
Okay.
And they gave her help because she was just trying to get financial aid, and because she had a part-time job. She's like, I can't provide you with their income statements
But
because
rich
I don't
people
know where they're at.
they
They're
don't have-
gone.
They don't
They're
have to produce all this.
no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
That because they said, oh well, this is what we're doing. Oh, okay, that's fine.
And we'll make a contribution to the school. Don't
Right.
Get that. They always donate.
Always
Right.
find their way.
Right.
That's where we are.
Sorry.
Yeah. Next week, guys, I'm bringing this guy in. I met him yesterday, actually. He is a school, Black International Online ISD. So that's going to be interesting to talk about.
Black International Online
ISD.
ISD.
So he teaches, aeronautics,
Academics, aeronomics, Black history, financial literacy.
Also teaches etiquette in his program.
Well,
So
speaking
you'll-
of etiquette, the Manners Maven says that we should not discuss any of these topics that we discuss here today at the dinner table.
Absolutely.
It's taboo. So if you want to discuss it before dinner or after dinner, but while you're at the dinner table, do not discuss any of these topics
Right.
at all.
Absolutely.
And don't forget, people, just because the show ends does not mean that the conversation ends. Please continue your conversations with us on our Facebook page, OMG and Friends, on our Twitter page at All About You Show, and of course, catch this show and many of our past shows, especially with the shootings, doomsday prepping. we have a show on that. You can catch our past shows on our website at www.allaboutyou.show.info. That's all about you, the letter U show.info.
Today's show was brought to you by Image. I make a great employee, executive, entrepreneur, professional etiquette, where life skills meet social graces. For more information, please visit www.yourbizimage.com. That's www.yourbizimage.com for more information.
Well, guys, thank you. And I guess until next week, guys, we will see you on the radio then.
See you on the
Absolutely.
radio.
Thank you, everyone.